Joe.
This is
Come on,
Mike.
come on.
Slide over. And that's slide over. How you doing, my friend? Good.
All right,
That's good. It's good. Everything's good.
So, I have a copy of the report. Yep. And, I didn't hear anything back from Dan, so we'll speak it up. I don't know if he did anything because they put a hold on it. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to figure out. Well, they put a hold on it and they put a hold on it. So I don't know if Dan ever did anything. Anyway, he should have.
It was holding for waiting for that.
For what? Well, and then 9 other stuff. I'm not making any excuses. I'm just saying. I'll find out.
Good stuff. Did you see?
It doesn't just tell us the study. We need comments against it.
Thank you.
Anybody can do a study. We need comments.
I should take notes for the first look at it.
Look, I didn't see sorry. I thought we were going to be here. Yeah. I heard you doing what I was seeing.
It's actually together. This thing.
Yeah. But we should say everything. If we don't say anything tomorrow, we shouldn't go to Zoom. If we don't say it tomorrow, we shouldn't go to Zoom. I can't provide any comments. I know, that's why we need to see it tomorrow. We need to see it. I want to see it.
This way? How's our camera working? How's the camera?
Camera? The YouTube is good.
We can spread it on the YouTube.
Yeah, I think the problem is.
Yeah, very
Good evening. Could everyone stand for the pledge, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing and honor those serving in the military. Thank you. I want to thank everyone for coming this evening. Make a motion to approve previous board minutes, March 6th to March 20th, 2024. It says 23 here, but it's 24.
Sorry.
Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Suffolk County Police Department, come on down. What you guys, you told these guys it was so much fun, they were going to come
I
check
brought
out.
40 today. I wanted to see what it's like.
All right. I'm going to be bitching about a couple of things, so
Okay.
you can go first. Okay?
It's my usual car doors stay locked. You got cameras, make sure they're working, and
Okay.
it's pretty much all we got that's being recorded right now.
We have a couple of things. By Union and Woodland, south of the tracks,
Yes.
there's been constant reports of a person walking around
Okay.
believing to be selling drugs to
Right.
cars. Now, when this person parks a car somewhere, then walks over to Woodland and we have some service roads in the back.
Yes.
So our cars are getting called, but we keep telling people to call the police.
Right.
And I think there have been some calls,
I've had a couple.
but it's a tough thing. 'Cause
They're always gone by the time I get there, so
Right.
there's nothing I can do at that point.
right,
You guys
that-
have trail cams?
Like actually being seen. We can do patrol checks. We just hang out in the area.
Mhm.
If we see anything, maybe it'll deter them from going over there.
You know, people don't recognize the person on foot, so
Right.
we're assuming they're parking probably somewhere else.
Right.
So that's why I'd asked the code people to keep an eye on. And it's during the day too. It's 4:30 in the afternoon and it's also 10:30 at night. So it's not consistent and it almost seems like maybe they're being called. But if you guys could look out for that, that would be great. Also, we have an issue with the Fairfield Apartments. Fairfield Apartments on the corner of Richland and Orinoco.
Okay.
Right now, they have a tenant that apparently is doing drugs all the time. People are coming and going. The neighbors have been in, the tenants, other tenants have been in Village Hall now multiple times. I've spoken with the owners of the property, and now they're saying that the people in there are being evicted.
Okay.
So how long is it going to take to evict people?
That's on the sheriff.
That's not your,
That's the sheriff, so
Right.
usually it takes a couple of months to get that done.
right, so
Yeah.
if people could spend time, and even if you sit in your car, you know, in front of Richland and Orinoco every now and then, hopefully that would help.
Definitely.
Even, I don't know if you guys can go in the back parking lot,
Yeah.
but you can go onto their property, pull in the back parking lot every now and then, turn the lights on.
Yeah.
Because there's a car there filled with clothes. Nobody knows whose car it is.
Okay.
So the people are going into the apartment through the back window. So that is going to escalate to the point where, you know, we had SWAT come less than 2 years ago? A year and a half ago, SWAT came because of their tenants.
Okay.
They're using that building, unfortunately, as a dumping ground for some of their tenants. And we have SWAT, we've got broken windows. It looks nice from the outside, but now we've had their tenants come to us saying, I live here with my daughter and we're afraid. So I've asked them to call the police, and they're afraid to call the police because they don't want to be targeted by their neighbors, because those neighbors aren't getting out until you and the gang show up there one day and probably toss them out.
Yeah.
So we have these two areas, Fairfield Apartments and by Union, if you guys could spend some time with them.
Absolutely.
I had a thing a week and a half ago. I went to the 7-Eleven on Howells Road.
Okay.
Set at 5:20 in the morning. I go walking in. They're calling the police because someone left his car running. He walked in, got his coffee. As he was paying, someone jumped in his car and left.
Yeah.
So that's at 5:20 in the morning on Howells Road, right here.
Yep.
You know, the shooting that happened was close by, so
Yes.
our residents have been concerned about that also. So, yes, we have these little things, but now we're dealing with bigger things right on top of us. And I know you guys can only be so many places, and we appreciate what you do, but, you know, we're concerned, and if there's anything that you guys can think of, we appreciate it.
Sure.
And also speeding and stop signs.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you guys, I see you guys every morning going up and down Concourse East and West.
Yeah.
I see it every morning, which I appreciate because the kids are getting on the buses and there's people who are late to work that are residents that are not stopping fully at stop signs or
Yes.
even stopping at all. But I guess the question I have for you guys is, we're gonna have more hot pockets. We're already seeing some of the overflow from downtown starting to migrate into Brightwaters. As those things come up, you're gonna have other hot spots in the village. How do we let you guys know? I mean, you know, we call the precinct, I mean,
Yeah, you could call the
Okay.
precinct and just let us know. We'll put in patrol checks and stuff like that. The folk guy, John Wright, I don't know if you are familiar
Officer,
with
right?
it.
Just
Yeah.
respectfully, officer, like, so we have a lot of residents that say they call,
Yeah.
and they say either no one calls them back, or they can't have a meaningful
Yeah.
conversation. Now, I've made phone calls, and I've had great conversations, but we do have residents that come here monthly saying that they're calling, they're not getting any responses. So again, we're just imploring, like, the board sees it.
Yeah.
We're just having some pretty big issues in the village
yeah.
with speeding.
Unfortunately, when we call, we're
Yeah.
trustees, we're the mayor.
Right.
Yeah.
So people call back. But when a resident calls, they're not getting calls back.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like, I don't want to call anybody on the carpet, but, you know, if somebody's calling, they should get a.
Right, we're saying one thing that, because you guys are great, you're so
Yeah.
responsive, but then the residents aren't feeling the same love.
They're not feeling love.
So, and they may not be seeing the same presence in the village.
Okay.
So we're just asking.
Yeah, so I'll let them know, I'll relay
Thank
the
you.
message and
Yeah.
pass it along for them. All right?
I'm sure they get a lot of calls, so I get it.
All right, does anybody in the audience have any questions for the officers?
The building, not regulars, but if you're down Fifth Avenue or Clinton, I don't know which one it is. If you're going south, past Bruno's, then there's a empty, used to be a business right there. Then there's another building that's empty. There's people going into that building, and during the day, sneaking in. Is that a problem area right there, since it's a block away from us? Because I know that the fish and hunt place has been broken into 5 times. That's not regular, but it's one building
Yeah.
away from us.
I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't,
There's a building, yeah, so I walk a lot, but the building that abuts the Long Island Railroad Station, Bay Shore,
okay.
the back gate, the back fence is ripped up, so there's definitely homeless people. I've seen less people at the train station, homeless people, so they're probably going in that property
Yeah.
and sleeping. I know there's, it's a business there, 'cause I've seen trucks going out, but
Familiar?
I can't tell you.
I mean, the train station, they all kind of hang out at the train station area,
Yeah.
migrate around there. There's
Yeah.
a bus stop down in Mechanicsville, so all those people that are hanging out there at the train station now.
Right. And
Yeah.
the train station, that building that's on the,
It's on Oak Street, I think. Right.
yeah, it abuts right to the train station. So
I'll check it out.
Yeah, so that first building, when you come in there, the back fence is.
It's not the environmental building, it's the one next to
The
it.
one that.
Just, yeah.
There used to be like a laundry or something there, it's empty now.
We'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
All right, does someone else, Donnie, do you have a question? Okay.
Yeah, so I was just on Brent Peach, I'm on Lombardi Boulevard. We're one of the hot streets. There's a number of them where we have the traffic issues. I definitely have made the phone calls,
Okay,
and I've always talked to someone, but
okay.
it was more about the response of actually following through with the things that
Right.
we've been talking about. And again, they've covered it. There's only so much that you guys can do,
Yeah,
and it is just traffic violations, moving violations. But again, you know, we're looking at some things doing from a village-wide standpoint on how we can mitigate some of these traffic issues. But we would all appreciate it if we can get some type of patrolling. And I have noticed that the last couple of days, you know, whether it be from the shooting, whatever else was going on in the area, there has been much more of a presence the last few days,
Okay.
without a question. But I think that we would all be very appreciative of.
Yeah.
And that goes to say with all the breaking in that we've had south on Lombardi, there's been a lot going on down there.
Yeah.
I just put up another Ring camera
Yeah.
Last week, just to, you know, potentially
definitely.
have
Bring
somebody
cameras,
there.
make sure every camera you guys working and they're charged and everything. 'cause-
But we would greatly appreciate it.
Of course.
Thanks.
All right, anything else from the audience?
Yeah, let me ask you, so you're basically in charge of the Montauk Highway, right? Main Street or no?
Part of it.
Okay, because there's always a lot of double parking there and people make U-turns right in the middle of Main Street.
Yeah.
I mean, it just stops the regular traffic from going.
Okay,
I don't see a lot of police presence down there.
okay. I mean, we can also let, you know, Town of Islip know for closer down into Bay Shore that they can write some tickets over there too.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else? Okay, great. Thank you for your time.
Be safe out there.
Thanks.
Reports of mayor and trustees. Trustee Fawcett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not too much. We've been focusing most of our effort, as everybody's here tonight, on the budget. Been going back and forth with Nicole, making sure that we're staying under the cap. And then, as you know, we're working with DPW. I'm sure Mike's going to talk more about that. Just getting ready for spring. There's a couple of projects around the lakes that we really got to take a look at. So hopefully in our working meeting, we can all agree on how to move forward with the lakes. And that's about all I have tonight. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks. Trustee Dubsovich.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Highway Department, doing our usual spring cleanup. We kind of made it through the winter pretty much unscathed, except for 2 light snowstorms that we had to salt and plow for, but nothing major this year, so knock on wood, you know, upset the kids another year and go another year without snow. Fixing potholes, cleaning storm drains. If we missed one, please let us know. These heavy windy rainstorms are becoming a little more frequent, and with everybody's favorite sweet gum trees are clogging the drains. We try to get around and clean them out, but we can miss one. So please let us know if you see one. And an email went out today about trying to stay off the streets as far as parking on the streets, because we're getting the street sweeper this week.
Yeah.
Mike, what is your schedule looking like?
We're going to be starting on the north side and just working our way south.
Okay, so pretty much this week, starting up north, heading south. So if you can keep your cars off the street during the day and let us have free reign of the road, we'd appreciate it. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. Trustee Zep?
Great, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Again, guys, code is not the police. So we've had some issues where people are still calling the code car first. Call Suffolk County Police, because when the code officers respond, they're just going to call the police also. So we're losing time when incidents are happening, like the mayor was explaining about earlier. People are seeing something and they're calling the code car, and by the time the police are being notified, the perpetrators, whatever you want to call them, are gone. So please, if it's a criminal activity, call the police first and then call the code car. They're doing their best to just, travel the village, keep on top of things, keep the four corners clear. But again, police matters, please. I just want to reiterate again, call the police. Thanks, that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, great, thank you. Just to recap, last week we had the Easter egg hunt. I want to thank the Bayshore Lions and the Art Council for helping out. We had a huge crowd. We're going to have to rethink that for next year because, again, we went through 4,000 eggs in about 6 minutes, and we just have to figure some way to slow it down, and I've already started rethinking about it. So, again, we want to thank the Lions. They're very helpful. Nick, right, Nick? You're very helpful. Thank you. Control chaos or what? It was interesting, but no blood, so it was a good event. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, if anybody has time, we're having an organizational meeting here for the first Saturday in May. It's our town Slow Down Day, so we have a meeting here tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Anybody who wants to spend time. I've contacted scouting groups and other people about helping out on it. We're going to get about 300-400 lawn signs. We're going to get ribbons to go around all the stop signs. So it's just to try to, force people to take some personal responsibility for their actions. So tomorrow there's an organizational meeting at 7 o'clock if people have time. I'll just go through the calendar real quick. April 17th, the Historical Society is having a presentation here. We've been getting some good crowds at those, 25, 30 people for the different talks about clamming, about the history of the village. So if anybody has time, April 17th, 7 o'clock. April 27th is the garage sale. This garage sale is at all the houses in the village. I think our signs is going to start going up tomorrow night, right? So we'll start putting up the signs and start promoting that. May 4th, again, it's Our Town Slow Down Day, and we'll have more information coming out in the next couple of days. May 11th is the 35th annual Mother's Day plant sale. I'm sure that some people from the plants, from the beautification, are going to talk about that too, but it's the 35th anniversary of that event. That's on May 11th. May 18th is the SOS run down at Walker Beach. That's a huge event. They probably have like about 800-900 people going to be doing that event. The following day, May 19th, is the Spring Thing block party in the middle of town. We've had the block party in October, and now we're also going to be having one in the spring. The businesses have asked for it, so I'm working with them. Good Samaritan Hospital has already donated $1,000 and be the major sponsor of the event. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be a nice day. And May 25th at 10 o'clock, we have our annual Memorial Day weekend, beginning of the weekend ceremony at the top of the canal. I just want to go back on the roads a little bit. On everyone's packet, I went around and listed every block north of the tracks that doesn't have a four-way stop sign. Everybody thinks every block in the village is a four-way stop sign. I got about 25 blocks north of the tracks that don't have four-way stop signs. So again, there's a lot of concern about traffic and speed. residents see one of these that are by them that they would like us to address, then please get a petition and write a letter, and we'll look into that. Over the last couple of months, we sent out a request for a survey from other villages around the island, and they responded to us. We asked if they have speed humps, how did they feel? Some are pro, some are con, some have caused accidents, some have been helpful. So we're accumulating more and more data on that, but a lot of them responded. Last Tuesday, I was at a complete street summit. It's run by Vision Long Island, and there's about 85 people there. But it's mostly engineers and a lot of elected people who are just there to spend money. The same engineers that designed the roads 25, 30 years ago are the ones there getting money to redesign the roads now to make them safe. So it was an interesting thing. I just tried to sit back and watch these people as they talked about millions here, millions here, millions there, millions there. When they went around the room, I mentioned about it's our town slow down day, and they looked at me like I had two heads because I wasn't spending any money. It's like, you're not going to spend millions of dollars redesigning the roads? I'm like, no, we just want people to slow down. So there's different mindsets, just trying to cover all different bases. By having that, it's our town slow down day, then we'll bring that. Once we get people's involvement a little bit more, then I think we'll start accomplishing some other things. So again, I'm looking forward to that day. I think it'll be an eye-opener for the village. At the last meeting, I was sitting at a bar in Baltimore at the airport, so I was watching the meeting, and there was a discussion about the sweet gum trees. Everyone has this chemical. These chemicals are going to stop the sweet gum balls. Well, it doesn't. All of our trees are mature now. If they would have did that 15, 20 years ago, it would have slowed it. It would have not prevented it, but slowed it down. So right now, I look back at our records. 3 years ago, we had Cornell came in and said our trees are too mature for this, sticking the chemicals in them. And then Bissett Nursery came by about a month ago and again said, this chemical is meant to do it. It can slow them down. We can't guarantee how much they're going to slow it down, but if you want to pay us tons of money, we'll be happy to stick the chemicals in the trees with no guarantee that they're going to do anything. So unfortunately, due to the age of the trees and the maturity of the trees, and the trees look great 10 months out of the year, but it's those two or three months is when we have the issues. So if anybody has any legitimate ways to cure this or slow them down, we're more than happy to do it. But we have brought in Cornell, we have brought in Bissett, and they all seem to conclude that these things are here to stay. Unless some residents have come to us and said, listen, this is destroying the quality of my life. I would like to cut them down. We discuss it. If we approve it, they cut it down, and they owe us a nice sized tree. All at their expense. Because we're not going to start, there's I think 120 of these trees in the village. We're not going to start cutting them down. We're not going to start doing the maintenance on people's lawn. It's just endless. So, but if people do come to us, we will look at it, but they're not going to put one of these like 2-inch trees on. They have to put something mature. Joe Baglio did it on South Bank.
He was our original test.
Yeah. He came in, he did the right thing. He took the tree down, he put a nice sized tree in his front lawn, and he felt that his issue was resolved. So,
What constitutes a nice sized tree?
that's for up for discussion, like maybe 4-inch diameter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something you get from a nursery that's, somewhat mature.
Yeah, they're a mess. We're not saying they're not a mess. They're a mess. So, again, we've looked into it. If people can get more information, if people have a solution, it's not like we're not looking into it. We have looked into it. All right? All right, that's all I have. Anything else from the board? Okay. All right. The next thing on the agenda is Peter Tampson. I don't see Peter here, but the Lions Club spoke to me about creating some kind of an oyster farm at Gilbert, but I'm gonna bring up the gentleman to speak about it. I'm sorry, your name again, please?
Douglas Moran.
Yeah, Douglas. You wanna come up, Douglas? and
Sure. You have to settle for me. Peter's
Yeah,
perhaps going to meet us here.
no, that's okay. It's your game anyway, right? It's your
Well, I've been involved in it for a long time, and when Peter was being elected, because he was in the line of succession, I went to him and I said, do you want to continue it? Or do you want to just, end it right here, and we'll give the money back that we've already put in the coffers? It turns out he's a bigger environmental person than I am. Apparently he has lineage that goes back to Bear Mountain.
Okay,
All right, so who knew? But
okay.
we do care about the environment. So I have a letter to read.
Yeah, the public generally has no idea what you're talking about right now, so whatever background could educate them on that, that would be great.
Okay. Thank you for agreeing to hear from me about this proposal. Lions Club International does more than just egg hunts. That was a good job. It's an NGO that operates globally with close to 1.5 million members. We're funded by our dues. All the money that we do raise go back to the community. We keep nothing. We get no salaries, no stipend, nothing. Some of our projects deal with vision, diabetes, childhood cancer, disaster relief, the environment, hunger, and youth. Our new president, by the way, Patty Hill, international president, she's big on environmental, so I can't wait to bring this up to her and tell her what we're doing in our little place called Suffolk County. We've been working with the Cornell Cooperative Extension, Suffolk County Community College, youth and faith-based organizations who have common interests in environmental causes. Everyone needs a clean environment. We have to sustain the life on land and sea. After extensive research, the Lions Clubs have focused on a project to filter and clean water in the Great South Bay. Not mechanically, organically. Those who have been around a while can remember looking into the Great South Bay and watching a multitude of fin fish or harvesting shell fish with our feet. It was a great thing that I did with my kids until they looked down and they saw that there were things living down there. They never went back. And a lot of people have made a good living out of raking clams, shellfish, oysters, but they're no longer. Why? Because we're successfully killing off our own food chain. We still enjoy some of the most beautiful waterways. However, it is common knowledge that shellfish harvesting has declined and closure of tidal beaches due to pollution is all too common. We all see the notices every time it rains. Stop, don't go near the water, etc., etc. Everybody who has anything to do with the drains or the ocean is aware of that. LCI, Lions Club International, has awarded the Suffolk County District 20S grants, that's us. We have grant money to do this. We're not here looking for money. I think you like that kind of thing. We have a project that can purify the Great South Bay, stem the damage of coastal surges, and help our local marine life begin to rebuild their stocks. Each oyster that is grown can filter 50 gallons of water in a day. That's tremendous when you have thousands of oysters put to work, and they don't have benefits, they don't have overtime, they just filter water. We will be growing them locally. We have the Cornell Cooperative grows them right out in Southold. If you ever want to go on a little field trip, we can arrange it with Chris Pickerel, who couldn't make it tonight. And you'll get to see an amazing site where they grow these from inception all the way through. But unfortunately, they can't just be dumped in the water. they are subject to predators. They're tasty little morsels when they're tiny little microbes. And a lot of fish and clams and crabs enjoy eating them. What brings us here to Brightwaters is you have one of the most beautiful sights in the world, the Great South Bay. We're looking for a place to put a floating raft with doors that open up from the top. We have racks of shellfish. They're called spats because they're attached to a piece of usually shell. And then we put them back and leave them there. That goes from June all the way through to close to the winter. And then we're done. The village provides nothing, just a little place to put a raft. And the raft we have, I think I was quoted with about 4 feet wide by 20 feet long. And it's unobtrusive. It takes up a little space, but I think it's a win-win when you get the clams. Now, the clams, when they are grown to maturity, are then harvested by, or actually not harvested for eating. I don't want to use that word. I made a mistake. They're taken out by the, and were directed by the DEC where to put them. And they put it protected waters where they're not fished, they're not raped. And they just propagate themselves year after year after year on their own. And what they do is they will also form reefs. And the reefs, I don't know if anyone here ever heard of a storm called Sandy, where the storm surge was so great that we couldn't stop it, couldn't even get close to it. I'm one of the victims. I lost my entire home, and that was not fun. So if I could help stop that, I think if you see down in Patchogue, down by the waterfront, they've done some abatement and removed some of the bulkhead and put in shellfish reefs. So it's a recognized scientific way of dealing with pollution and also the water surge. We're going to be working with Suffolk County Community College. They have an entire science department. We have 2 professors on board. We're working with them down here on the South Shore and also up in the Stony Brook area. We're working with faith-based groups, honor society, scouts, everybody but people my age who can get down and straight and clean the cages, but will never get back up. You'll just leave me there and come back next March, and I'll still be there. So we're going to get some young people in there, and it forms a community, camaraderie. I've seen the magic up in Bayview, I believe it's called, where people come out from all over. I think there are 11 million people in New York City that do this kind of volunteer work, and it just brings the community together. And so I'm asking if you'd consider letting us have a little space.
Okay, so what exactly you're saying is the platform is 4 by 20 feet?
Approximately.
So it's like it looks like a walkway almost, right?
Kind of like a finger you'd see in a boatyard.
Right. So that gets put out in the water. Is it anchored down?
How far off the beach? Like, is it perpendicular or horizontal?
There are several ways.
He's looking at Gilbert Park also, not Walker.
Right. There are several ways to mount it. I just recently came across a way that you can actually put it in the water straight down, but the water's not deep enough here. The raft or float would be put out. It's anchored on piles or on the shoreline, or it's put out at low tide where someone could walk out and bring it in closer so that someone can safely clean it up. We don't want to put anybody in danger by going into a drop-off. Right? Every year we read about people that unfortunately slip, but we could anchor it so many different ways. We could put mushroom anchors down and just drag it into the shore, clean it, and bring it back out. That's done up in Bayville. I've been up there. Or we can just anchor it to the bulkhead. There are private people who just do that. They have a bulkhead, that they have extra room, and they just,
I think the fear is just to make sure it's not a navigational hazard.
Oh, no.
You have a canal right there.
We have 3 places we could put that right now, wouldn't be an issue.
Right, it's
Like
just not,
Gilbert.
he hasn't said clearly where they're gonna.
Yeah, I mean, that would be, like, we could put it at Gilbert, right? We could put it in the channel by Walker.
Yeah, no, I'm all for it.
And you
just
got the
so-
poles that
Yeah.
you could actually anchor to outside of Walker.
No, I know Cornell does a lot with people
Yeah.
putting off their bulkheads and whatnot.
So the question I have is, I'm familiar with SPAC, because I'm actually, I do a class with them, but, and I've been researching this myself. The way you're gonna do it, they're gonna breed in the waters as they're cleaning the water, right? So how are you capturing the babies, or because the float's it's gotta have water circulating, right? So are they falling down to the bottom and creating the reef themselves, or are they, proliferating a reef?
I'm at fault for not explaining that a little bit better. Cornell, out in Southold, has this amazing place where if you
The
want
tanks,
to,
yeah.
they have the tanks, and they work with the existing animals, and they control the temperature in the environment, and they bring the temperature in the environment to a perfect place where they release their whatever they release
Okay, yeah.
to
Propagate.
propagate.
Yeah, I'm more concerned, like, when they're in bright waters, common area, and they're shedding, and they start creating, basically what they'll do is fall to the bottom, they'll attach to a shell or something, and then start creating a reef. That's what they did by Kennedy Airport, that's what they're doing by Patchogue.
No.
Or, what's what I'm saying?
They're in crates, right? They're in cages.
We're going to get them in bulk. They're already going to be grown big enough to not fall to the bottom.
So what are they gonna attach to?
Well,
Like, how are they gonna form the reef? If they're like we know about the oyster cages out in the middle of the Great South Bay, like, it's
Yeah.
also different, like the spat has to attach to something.
Well, so what they're doing is they're looking for a place to put them for now to grow big enough where then they can
Right.
transfer them to a place where they want them to build the reef.
Exactly.
Right, they're just looking for space right now
Just to grow them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How much attention, you're saying all these people will come and they're going to be dealing with this 4 by 20 foot platform? Like, what are they actually doing?
Well, in my mind, I'm hoping you'd yell at me someday for crowd control. But the fact is, with volunteers, you'll get enough to do the work. And it's going to be that same 5% of the entire staff, because we don't want to use the same people every week.
So your attention once a week, twice
Once
a
a
week?
week.
Okay, so it's not every day?
No,
Okay.
no. It's once a week, it's a couple of hours tops, and then just head on out. You want to meet and you have a piece of pizza at some pizza place, well, that's fine too. You know, that's where the camaraderie comes in.
Right.
It's not a rave, it's not a crowd, it's just community people getting a little mucky and dirty, doing something good for the environment, and then getting out.
That's good. Any other questions on the board before I open it to the public?
I just thought we'd want to, before you place it, let's have a conversation about where you're gonna put it. That's
Why I'm here.
Yeah.
I don't want to just take it upon myself to say, this is what I want,
Right.
because I know you have needs and stuff. I don't
We
even know you.
we have a very active water community, as you probably know.
I know.
All right, does anybody in the audience have any questions? Mike?
How deep are they? If they're 2 feet wide, they're 20 feet long, 4 feet wide, 20 feet long, so how deep are they?
They're not, I don't know the exact dimension. I know that right now, they were taking the substructure
Right.
and eliminating it and floating the crates from the top straight down, so it'd be a soft crate. It's not obtrusive, it's not 4 feet deep, it's a matter of 2 feet tops.
Chris?
Is heavy seaweed a problem?
No, eelgrass, my favorite. I lived on the canal, I know all about eelgrass. It's natural. You know, there's nothing you can do about it once the tide brings it in. But then again, usually, unless you're on a dead-end canal, the tide will bring it out. So no, it's a natural phenomenon. I don't foresee that being a problem.
Is there a better time to do this? Is it supposed to be done in the spring, summer, fall?
June it begins, all the way through to possibly October.
Okay. Go back.
Hi.
Hello.
You mentioned working with Cornell. Save the Great South Bay is another local nonprofit that's doing a tremendous amount of work with oyster habitats and repopulating the bay.
Yes.
Are you working in conjunction with them also? They do quite a bit of work in this area.
We haven't been approached by them, and we haven't approached them. We have no problem in partnership, forming a partnership with any entity, not just environmental groups, but like I said, Boy Scouts, Honor Society, anybody who's involved in that in any way, we're more than open. We'll share our resources, we'll share our knowledge, and the research that's done by Suffolk County Community College will also be wide open and shared. These young people are going to be writing their and publishing their research, so it's a very important thing for them. And they're going to get dirty too.
When you're placed out there wherever it's going to be, is it safe that kids aren't going to jump up on the dock and hang out there? Or?
I wish I could tell you that I know children good enough to say that never would that ever happen. Because when I was a kid, I'd probably do that.
Yeah.
All right? And now that I'm not a kid, I wish I could do that. We haven't had any reports of children. It's not an attractive nuisance. We will have a large sign on it that says the entities that are doing this work. I really don't think, I can't see it, but I can't promise it either. We will not go out and spank children.
There'll be a sign, this is private.
Oh, well, there'll be a sign of what it is, but we don't want to make it too attractive.
Right.
The more you spotlight something, the more curiosity will kick in. Yes, sir.
You have a photo of what it looks like, so you can send it to the village, could you send it around?
I can send one electronically, sure.
They send out emails, so that would alert people to what is the structure out there, what good it's doing.
I have one that is representative of the, they call them flotsams. I love the name. Of what it is, and I can get that over to the village clerk, I guess.
Yep.
Okay.
Great work you're doing.
I can send that out tomorrow. All right. The more the village knows, the better it is for us too.
Any more questions from the audience?
How many are you planning on placing?
Pardon?
How many are you planning on placing?
One.
Just one?
Yeah. We're going to have two, because we're purchasing them with our grant money. We're purchasing one for the South Shore. And then one I'd like to put in Stony Brook for more than one reason. Not only the environment, but we have a club up there that will also be working with this and building. So there'll be one on the North Shore, one on the South Shore. But we can only afford two with the grant. I'd love to have deep pockets, but that's about it.
How many clams are incubating about?
Thousands. Oysters.
Oysters.
We don't do clams.
Okay.
And the reason for the oysters is, as spats, they clump, and they grow to be unattractive to people who want to go and eat them, because they're clumped. You'd have to break everyone apart to get the meat, which by then you have splintered shells. So they will clump and you'll never get them apart. And that's why we're doing it, so that as spats, they'll have structure and they can't be eaten.
Thank you.
We have a working meeting a week from today, so whatever information you can get to us before that, any pictures, any other information, then we'll sit and discuss it at our meeting next Monday.
Okay.
And I'm sure I'll have a question. Should I ask you or Peter? I'll ask the questions to you then, I guess.
Peter is our district governor.
Okay.
I'm his front man on this.
Cool.
So you could ask either one of us.
So if I ask Peter, he's going to ask you anyway, right?
Well, he's very involved. He is very involved. He had a a meeting that he could not.
No, that's fine. It's all good. All right, so again, if June is the opportune time, we'll discuss it next Monday.
All right, and I'll start getting stuff over
Can you get
electronically.
that photo
tomorrow.
over? That was awesome.
All right, great. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Thank everybody.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
All right, the next thing on the agenda is for the Historical Society. They've been working with the New York Geological, whatever. You got it, Society. And what they do is they come in for free and they take our records and they scan everything. Right now, our records were in a musty vault on the other side. We've moved them underneath this location. But if there's ever a fire, they're gone. So this group comes in, they do it for free. So now the Historical Society has been putting all the stuff together, labeling boxes, sorting stuff out. So when they give it to them, Dottie, what is it, a 3-month process at least or more?
I think so.
It's going to take them 3 or 4 months to copy all this stuff out. So it's a free agreement. They'll probably, once they give it to us, we'll probably send a solicitation letter around the village asking for donations, but that's going to be up to you. So that's not going to be cost us anything. Anybody in the board have any questions on this? All right. So make a motion to enter into an agreement with the New York Geological Society to digitize and preserve the villages of Brightwater's historical documents. Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye. All right, the next thing we're going through, we have some equipment left in our budget. So Mike Rolton, the highway foreman, gave us some wish list items. So permission to purchase a new Highland Workmaster 225S tractor off the New York State contract from Malvese Equipment in the amount of $23,778. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Permission to purchase a 500-gallon express skid sprayer and 1 Claritin in the amount of $6,697.50. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Permission to purchase an Echo double hedge trimmer in the amount of $399.99 and a Red Max backpack leaf blower in the amount of $409 from Mowers at Jack's. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. The next thing is the Orinoco Corridor. The planning board has been working on this. What's your guess, Joe?
7, 8 years?
Okay, 7 or 8 years. The planning board itself has had a minimum of 4 public discussions. I think 1 was on Zoom, 2 in person. The village board has had also 2 open discussions on this. Public hearings were closed. And now we're going to vote on the legislation. This isn't a blank check to anything. You know, it's just to try to clean up and give us a more consistent zoning throughout the Orinoco Corridor. So again, any major projects, there will still be plenty of public notices and public hearings on it. So I can make a motion to consider the adoption of Local Law 2-2024 to amend the Brightwater Zoning Code, Article 4 and 5, 128-11 through 13, Orinoco Corridor legislation. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Okay, that's passed. All right, now what are you going to do, guys?
Get the rocking
Okay, it's cleaned up the zoning, but any major project along the Orinoco, there will still be plenty of public hearings, traffic, and other considerations too. It just, it just cleans up our books. Our books are a mess. It cleans it up. All right, the next is the public hearing on the 2024-2025 budget. I make a motion to open the public hearing. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor? All right. Nicole, do you want to give us a brief summary of the budget, please?
Yeah, everybody should have one in their packets. So we have worked very hard to stay under the cap this year, even with inflation and everything. The tax rate would be 31.20 per 1,000 assessed. This previous year, the tax rate was 30.68. There's going to be a garbage increase to $50 more per household for each garbage unit, and we have in the budget to transfer $300,000 to capital for road paving, the roads to be designated by the board.
I'll just give you a quick on the garbage increase. The garbage is separate from your regular percentage tax increase. The last garbage contract was a 4-year contract. We put it out to public bid. By our contract, we have right to extend it for 2 more years. All right. Alpha carding was not 50%, 40% cheaper than Winter Brothers during the last go-around. Winter Brothers was the second bid. So Alpha carding was 40% cheaper. So we had discussions with Alpha carding. Instead of going out to a bid, we had discussions for a 2-year extension. They wanted 10% each year, and we agreed with 12% the first year and a 0% increase for next year. All right, so it does come out to $50 more per person. Per household, per household. We could have put it out for public bid, but it would have come back without for carding 10% each one of those 4 years. So we tried to get ahead of it. They are much cheaper, and at least we knew what we were doing. Once we get the bids, there's no negotiating. So if he came back in 10%, 10%, 10% across the board, then that would have been it. So he wanted to catch up a little bit since he was way behind Winter Brothers. So we agreed with 12 years for 1 year and no increase for next year. So it's a 2-year. So any percentage, like when we talk about the 2% and change, you have to take the garbage out. I'll take, for example, my house on $2,000, 500 of that is garbage, 1,500 is my taxes. So the 2 and change will be on my 1,500, not on my 2,000. Okay, sorry, Nicole.
No, that's okay. I don't know if you wanted me to go line by line or kind of
No,
questions about.
just anything that.
The health insurance is going up, retirement contribution rates are going up, everything's going up, and we managed to stay below the tax cap, so I think that's a good thing. We have 300,000 more roads that we're going to put towards. Same type of budget though we normally go through every year.
I just want to point out, we definitely had to tighten our belt on this one. To stay below the tax cap of, was 2%, especially when the cost of living it went up anywhere from 10 to 12%. For us to stay below 2% is pretty much a miracle. So some things are, unfortunately, like I said, we're going to have to tighten our belt. Some things are going to get cut out that we've gotten used to, but hopefully, they'll be back.
So there was a lot of heated discussion with this board about this budget. I was adamant that we stay under the cap, so we did some great things. One of the biggest things is you need to continue to maintain the village. One of the things that hurt us was we have a bond that we've used for our roads that every year we're allowed to take a portion of that and use that to get CHIPS money back. That went away. We have 2 more years on that bond, and then once that bond is completed, we should free up about $160,000 in capital every year, which can now go back into our roads. There's basically 1 road in the village that we didn't touch yet, have never touched since the roads were done. So we have to do that road, and our service roads, it's like, putting a new roof on your house. Looks great, but we really don't want to spend that much money, so we have to do those. They're becoming to the part of disrepair where we're going to have to rebuild them, and that's going to be twice as much. Thankfully, they're only 1-lane highway, 1-lane road, so that'll save us some money there. But you know, we went line by line, and I can tell you, a lot of people weren't happy with some of the stuff we had to do. So I think that's probably the right place we need to be. So.
You know, one of the things that people always point out is we have a lot more community events now. Kristen Sullivan's here. He's down in the big account. Again, we're going to be working on more sponsors for the events. Like on Thursday nights at the beach, we get 200-300 people. It costs us $200 for music and about $120 for the lifeguards. So we're going to start trying to get some sponsors for these nights. I don't see an issue with it. The bingo, we always have, the business association gives me all credit or their debit cards for whatever, gift cards. But it still costs us a couple $100 for each one of those nights. So we're going to be looking to cut some of the costs down. Our biggest cost is the ice cream social. The ice cream social costs us about $4,500. We have to pay for the band. We have to pay for microphones and speakers. We have to pay for the highway guys. We have to pay for all the stuff, and there's zero income coming in for that day. So there's different things that we have to, you know, rethink a little bit. And, you know, again, Christian Sullivan is the head of BIG, and we're going to be working on, you know, trying to make those costs a little bit tighter. Coming in, again, the block party, the spring block party, what we have, normally a block party costs us between $1,000 and $2,000. We have sponsors, but it does cost. But we've already got $1,000 from Good Samaritan Hospital. I have $1,000 from the landlord, Rocco, the guy who owns the empty store forever and ever. So he's given a contribution. So I think we'll actually be ahead of the game on that one this year. So, you know, again, we're looking around.
We're also getting quotes for our general insurance, which doesn't expire until the end of June, so we won't know what that number will come in at, but we're trying to save in different areas.
Listen, as a group, I think we set priorities and worked really hard. Pat, I know I spoke to you about it because I couldn't make that meeting due to personal reasons, so I appreciate you trimming, where we had to trim. So I think as a group, everyone worked together to really keep the numbers where they are. It wasn't easy, but I think everyone worked together. And Nicole, thank you for your extra efforts.
Yep, great job, Nicole.
Thank you.
All right, I'd like to open it up to the public now. Any questions on the budget?
One of those pieces of equipment that you approved buying, is that to clean the lake? Any of
No,
those?
there's no money going to the lakes.
Is that so? No? So it's not going to be cleaned up at all this year? You're kidding. It's bad. It's really bad.
Just regarding the lakes, what is the cost to do that service one time?
Last year we spent $24,000 for it to come twice. It's about $100,000, a little more than $100,000 to buy the piece of equipment. And our issues with it last year was he came and does a nice job. It's like cutting your lawn. It looks great for, you know, a couple of weeks. But when we needed him back, he was busy on other jobs. So by the time he came back, it was, you know, it was a little late. So the idea to buy one was to have it, you know, in our control. But it's not in the cards. Chris, please say your name. I'm sorry. Please say your name.
Chris Pace, still live at 506 Northwest. Just had a couple of questions. How many people do we have on health insurance in Brentwood?
Well, DPW is 6 guys that we have. We don't give health insurance to our part-timers. I'm opted out of, 2 people in the office opted out of health insurance because we have, somebody else.
Well, we have 5 in DPW, and then we have the retirees, right?
We have the retirees, yes, the retirees.
So how many are we talking about?
There's about 4 retirees, 6 full-timers. No, I'm sorry, 7. Right, we have 6. No, we have 5 DPW, so 6. And then we have Med B reimbursements and that's it.
Well, no, the reason why I'm asking is our employee benefits are 16% of our village, but every year I look at it, you know, we offer, what kind of health insurance do we offer, and do we have to offer these kind of plans to get people to work, being the fact that healthcare has risen so much for.
The answer is, just like the fire department, it's something that we have to do. We are locked into, Nicole, I'm misspeaking here, we are locked into certain benefits that we have to give as part of their compensation. So we do, I ask Nicole every year to shop what we can, but there's certain things we just cannot shop. We're not allowed to by contract.
Their health benefits are part of their union contract,
It's
right?
through New York State, it's NYSHA.
Yep.
New York State Health Insurance Program.
One of the ways to save money is, Mike's staff now is down to 5 people from 6.
So that doesn't.
So by eliminating one more position, we saved about $60,000-$70,000. But now Mike will be making that up in overtime. Good.
I didn't notice the line item. Where are the speed humps in the budget?
Good question. I don't think they're in there because they would come out of our capital fund. So when we do a project, such as like the roads, it comes out of our capital account. So they're not a specific line item because they're a one-time thing. They're not.
We can take money out of our reserves to pay for something like that.
Okay.
Okay?
Another question, please. Tree planting. How many people have paid in the last year for revenue the $1,000 for having trees cut down?
Illegal trees cut down? I don't believe any.
Oh, fine.
So, with the scalping of trees that have happened in the village over the last couple of years, we have a budget of $6,000 to plant trees? That seems really low. How do we work? What's the plan? And has there been a discussion, this will be a follow-up question, do we have anything in the books, since we were talking about things in the books, of permission to cut down trees of a certain size? It's been brought up over the years, but never been put into village code.
Not on people's property, no, we do not have that effect.
Okay. So $6,000, what is that, how much tree planting is $6,000?
How many did we do this year? Do you remember? Mike, do you
It's
remember?
about,
I think it was about 10 trees.
No, it was more than 10. That was the list of people on their properties?
Yeah, because we didn't do it.
it's about 20 trees. It's like
$20.
$300 a tree that it costs us. I have, people could pay for their own trees to be planted as well, but that was the budget that we came up with.
Yep. Yeah,
It's the same as last year what we did.
Normally, people put in requests for trees if they fall down, if they got, knocked down, fall down, they put in requests. And I think we were short this year. Last year, we had extra trees. This year, we were short trees for people's requests. So they just go on the list for next year, on the top of the list.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the budget?
Good evening, folks. Joe McDermott, 540 Potter. A couple of questions here. First question is Mike. This is going back to my last thing. At the open portion of the meeting of the mini storage unit, you said the village is going to be collecting $2,500 yearly inspection fee for the cell tower. I was wondering where that would show up in revenue. Where would that, what column would that go in income?
For permit fees?
No, it said the village was going to be collecting a $2,500 a year inspection fee. Is the village collecting that?
Would that be the permits, wouldn't it?
Not to my knowledge.
Bob said it, or you said it?
I don't remember that conversation.
Yeah, that was Bob, that was.
So the village, what happened, well, I don't want to get off subject, what happened to that? We're not collecting that? We didn't, that fell through?
We should still be.
I mean, Bob O'Shea's not here, so I don't
Oh, I'm asking Mike, because he's the one that reported it in his report. During the open,
I don't think
no,
Mike
not during the report, during the, you quoted that in the open session of the public hearing for the mini storage.
No.
Yes, if you don't remember, it's fine, if you did.
Yeah, I don't.
It's okay not to remember it,
Yeah,
you did say it.
I don't recall.
Okay.
If you want, we could ask Bob O'Shea when he's in tomorrow and have him
Yeah, we'll find
email you.
I don't want to talk on something that you can.
I don't know, when was that?
When was that meeting?
Anyway, the beach recreation, A 2025, you got listed at 20,000 going up from 13,000. Is any of the beach pass going up? Is that what it's-
No, nothing, wait, where are we? Income?
Yeah, the income, A 2025 recreational beach. Last year was budgeted for 13,000, and this year it's at 20,000.
We're opening up to
non-
a few more non-residents, and then,
Historical data.
Yeah, the recreational beach in 2022-23, we collected $21,000.
Yeah, based on historical data, that's how you do it.
So we're actually budgeting it at $20,000 this year.
Okay.
Right now, we are selling more non-resident passes. I think we bumped that up 20, because we always have a massive demand for those. Each non-resident gets one pass. They don't get two anymore, they get one pass. Residents get two passes.
We also
That-
changed
those fees stay the same.
the enforcement of it, so people can't not stick it onto their car. They're not allowed into Walker if they don't have it fixed to their car. So there's no pass sharing anymore.
So we feel the demand at Walker Beach, especially with all the young families and all this year, and the extra income will definitely hit the 20, which is less than last year.
Okay. One more question on this. I know you guys are cutting back, keep staying on the cap, which sometimes is good, but sometimes I disagree with being a former mayor. Sometimes I think you need to break the cap, put it on your shoulders to make sure things get done in the village. You know, stay under the cap, say we stayed under the cap, and let somewhere where the lakes suffer. You know, sometimes I think it's better off to take care of the village instead of saying I stayed under the cap. Because what's the plan with the lakes now? If we
So we
wanted
spent-
to spend
we spent-
$104,000 on the boat,
Yep.
and now we're not doing anything with the lakes. That's one of the most iconic parts of the village. So I see.
Do you want to say answer, or are you gonna just keep going?
No, I'll stop. I didn't-
Okay, thanks. So the lakes are going to be addressed. We're going to have a social on the bridges to talk with the residents around there to see if we can generate some support by the residents that live on the lakes to help us with the long-term solution. We have money in capital reserve to do stuff on the lakes if we need to do it. We spent $24,000 on the lakes last year, and all it did was basically cut the grass. Everything came back. It didn't go away. Will it get better if we would continue to do it? Possibly. But everything that we've tried, we have not corrected the situation there. So we have to do other things around the lakes that need to correct that. And one of the first things we need to do is correct the banks. The banks have to be corrected to slow the nitrogen going into the lakes. So there's a long-term plan there. It's not being ignored. It's just not in the budget right now.
Yeah. And I guess the last question I have, is there a budget for the capital projects?
Right now, I don't believe there's any capital projects on this budget, in this budget.
When you're planning the budget, do you look ahead and say, okay, we might be doing this, this, and this, and put a budget for just the capital projects? Because over the last couple of years, when the village did something, there was always a, in parentheses or a side note from the capital project fund. So there should be a budget for the capital projects within that. Like we'll be doing those for $300,000 and maybe something else. It doesn't seem like we have a capital budget.
Right now, we have the 300. We have the 300,000 for capital projects to do the roads.
But I'm saying
we have a
that's
capital,
it.
we have a capital like inventory where we have.
But there's no budget. Like say if you're coming up to something, say, well, you know, whether it's, you know, more with the lakes or something with the cabin or anything like that. There's no, we got to stay within this parameter for capital projects.
Well, right now, we've done the cabin, we've done the gazebo, we've done the bridges, we've done the bathrooms at Walker Beach, we've done the highway building. I am building a bocce ball court down at Walker Beach. That's my next big project. But other than that, I don't think we have another project coming up.
But, so you don't have a budget, like you're saying, with that?
If there's nothing,
Major project to
Yeah.
That's what it is.
there's always something to do. The maintenance of the bridges, now that we've done all these things, the maintenance is a big concern of mine, which is a concern for the budget of mine. But, you know, now that we've done these things, we have to keep up. So, again, as far as projects, you know, we do have some things at the highway yard, but they're minor. Fix something there, fix something there. But as far as, you know, we are gonna apply for more sidewalk grants for downtown, but even that, none of that will be done this budget year. Right now, a road and maybe a service road is our only thing. If anybody wants to look on our village website under projects, they can look up their road and see when the last time their road was done. So it is interesting, and Joe, when you guys kicked butt on a bunch of roads you caught up on. We've tried to stay up. There was a lot of catching up to do with the roads, so it's a hard thing because it's a lot of money. So, you know, now that, you know, if we do Plymouth Court and we do part of Johnson, we're going to turn around and say, well, the roads are done, but then you're going to look on that map and it's going to say, well, this road's 18 years old, 20 years old. This has to be done because the life of a road is only like 12 or 15 years. So already that cycle has come around. So again, right now, you know, if you came in today, you saw that the bushes were taken away by the front steps. We have some scouts that are going to be doing a project. They're going to be doing bricks. They're replacing the flagpole and some benches. So, you know, we cleared the runway. They're going to come in and do that. So that'll be a nice project. But again, as far as us, if you look at the building definitely needs new siding or painting. You can keep looking forever. But right now it's not in here. All right. Anybody else in the audience?
Yeah, Brett Peters, Lombardi. Out of sheer curiosity, what is the problem with the lakes?
The lily pads.
Okay.
Vegetation.
Yeah, they'll start growing end of May, and then when we started, this goes back, say 5-6 years ago when I became mayor, we took a drone shot of the lakes, and it was just lily pads on the outside. We bring in the DEC, they come and say, well, your lakes are allowed to have or should have 20% of lily pads. So you really shouldn't do anything with them right now. So the 20% became 40% real quick, and then you're playing catch up. Now we're trying to do chemicals and these other things that just didn't work. We tried to play by the rules, we tried to play the right way by DEC, and that was 2 years of nothing. So last year when we brought in the mechanical weed harvester, you know, that came in, he did when he was done, it looked good for a couple of weeks, and then they explode again. But the more you do it, the less it gets. So, but again, it's $100,000 plus the person then riding it.
And then maintenance.
And dumping.
So, and then dumping the stuff. So, you know, so we'll see. All right, any more questions from the audience? Okay, make a motion to close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, do you guys want to vote on the budget?
Sure.
All right. Make a motion to vote on the 2024-25. Is it a tentative budget or is it the budget?
To adopt.
It's a motion to adopt budget.
All right, make a motion to adopt the 2024-25 budget. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? No. Okay. Okay, Nicole, next thing, treasurer's report.
Okay, it's in everybody's packet. Do you want me to read through it, or are we not doing that again? Okay, everybody has a treasurer's report in their packets.
All right. Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report and abstract. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anything else from the board before I open up to the public? All right. Make a motion to open up to the public hearing. If anybody says anything, please again state your name and address to Nicole. And go ahead. Anybody would like to say anything?
Joe Perez, 2 216 Lakeview Road. I was just curious, how's the highway department building going?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't say. We're like 98% done. We're waiting for the Board of Health to give us approval to hook up the sewer and the water. That has taken about 3 weeks out of my life. It's just like, it's done. It's done. We had hoped to have a opening of it last weekend, but there's no water. We have temporary power, which we can't hook up to regular power yet. So it all counts on a certificate from Suffolk County. But Mike is dying. We've been putting the trucks in. We're starting to move some things in there. Again, as soon as we have water, we'll have an open house down there. But it's just about there. It's killing him. It's killing me. We're just about there. All right.
Speaking of water, would you put on the schedule to turn water on soon, please, down the canals and at the beach?
May 1st,
Well,
every year.
And I asked at the April meeting for it to be earlier if possible for runners.
the canal is open on April 15th. So, Mike, I think you'll have the water on for the April 15th.
Yep.
As far as the Walker Beach,
Thank you.
we'll discuss that. Anything else?
Christian Sullivan, 431 Atkinson. Brightwater's Improvement Group is looking for residents, generous residents, or businesses who would like to sponsor one of these evenings that the community has come to really love down at the beaches, or even help out pay some of the costs at the big ice cream social. So if any of you who are present or anyone who's listening at the meeting tonight would like to do that, please contact the Village Hall and I will follow up with you. You can make a donation directly to the Village, or you can make it to Brightwater's Improvement Group, which is a nonprofit for your tax purposes, and we can recognize those donations. So we're looking at maybe like $250 donation to cover one night, and when you have 200 some people at an event, it's great exposure for your business. If you have neighbors who together everybody wants to put in $50, and the friend group from Atkinson Boulevard would like to do that, think creatively about how we can sponsor these nights, and then before we know it, we have $5,000 taken off of the budget. And it can go to take care of the little events. So that's the hope behind this effort. So if you know people, if you'd like to do it yourself, you can contact me, and I'm happy to give anyone my cell phone number.
Do you guys have Venmo, Stripe, any of the online platforms for donations?
Not yet, but Venmo, I think we can hook up.
Okay. Anybody else?
Joe McDermott again, 540 Pond. I'm not going to be here next month, so I got to double down on my questions. First, I noticed the board voted to reimburse Mayor Baldini $1,800 for receipts. I was wondering why the village didn't purchase that, like we purchased the other products for the highway yard.
Mayor Baldini was scolded not to ever do that again. But he did it because it was a time of essence issue. We told him that please not do that in the future, that they use the village cards.
Because the village is exempt from paying sales tax, so now the village is paying sales tax on stuff we got for the highway yard.
There was guys working at the job that needed stuff right away, like the kitchen counter on the Saturday we were working there. Just stuff that I grabbed quickly.
You take this tax exempt form with you and save the village money.
Okay,
So
I'll do that the next time, Joe. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just saying it's something you should be aware of.
Not to thank you for donating all the labor to do all that work, but that's okay.
It's taxpayer money you should be saving. The other thing is what is the policy of the village when they hire the contractors? Is there steps you take before? Like when I say sometimes you make a resolution to hire this company, and then sometimes I don't see any record where you're making resolutions, but then we'll come to a meeting and you'll ask for permission to pay the contractor $30,000 or $15,000. But I don't see anywhere where there's a record, where there's a resolution to hire the company. So my question is, what is the policy or the steps the village takes before hiring a company to work, say, on a highway bill?
On the highway building, we had received multiple prices, but
But there's no, when do you make those resolutions to hire the companies? Example,
I thought we did actually.
the Macroon and Macron Plumbing, on March 18th, you asked for permission to pay them $30,000. When was the resolution to hire that company?
I don't know that off the top of my head, but.
There's no record of it. If you look in the minutes or agendas, there's no record. There should be a record of that.
We vote on hiring companies.
Yeah, when is that on?
Well, I'll have to find out, I don't know specifically, but the policy of the village is when we retain a contractor, we have to vote to approve the services.
But there's no record of it. It should be in the minutes or the
There
agenda.
must be somewhere, Mr. Mayor.
I looked, it's not.
Besides Macron, is there anybody besides Macron that you want Nicole to look up?
I know that Nicole's been very adamant that we
If
get.
I missed that, I apologize, but
I know
that's normally the policy is we
Yeah.
hire.
Again, Nicole, we look up the history of Macron.
Yeah,
Is there any others that you wanted to look up?
Okay, I got one last one. I'm not gonna-
Just the plumber you wanted to look up?
What's that?
Just the plumber you wanted to look up?
The other one was on March 18th, was TD Electric for $16,000.
No, I know we did that.
We did it. Mr. Mayor, we'll find the resolutions. The policy of the board is that when we retain the contractor, whether or not we go out to bid or not, that depends on the monetary threshold. The board approves retaining the contractor. We normally approve, we pass a resolution authorizing the village clerk to execute a contract or a purchase agreement with the contractor. We'll find it.
Is it done in a public meeting?
Always.
All right, so Nicole will look up
It's the same
TD.
thing that we've done in the past. It's
Yeah.
nothing different.
Always.
You have to give people a chance.
No, of course.
You can't just pick something out of and say, I want an answer right now. I mean, it's not
No,
fair.
I didn't ask for an answer right now. I'm just
I
saying,
didn't bring it up.
what's the
You have to
policy?
give her a chance.
Now you explain the policy.
Right.
and you
So
say,
we
well,
did.
no, that's fine.
Right.
We set the limit.
The other thing I have is pedestrian safety should be the most important thing in the village. And there's been a petition for stuff to come, for stop signs and speed bumps, and we've talked about it for a while. Then you're gonna have a safety day, which is gonna be a nice day. And it always seems like we're asking for donations to help fund something. That's fine if we're doing a block party or something, I think. But pedestrian safety, and we're looking for donations, when we just put a budget together, you'd think there'd be money in the budget for pedestrian safety.
Well, the reason that was put out is when we put out that we were having that day, Peter Pan Diner, who was our guardian angel, said, I'll put money towards this event. I'm not going to say no. So
I
if
would expect you to say
we're going to
that,
end up
but-
spending about $2,000 on lawn signs and ribbons and stuff. That's a high number, it would be lower. But if I budget $2,000, he gave me $500. If someone else wants to do it, then that's fine.
I know, but it just seems like if you put a budget together, that should be priority in the budget where we don't have to go and what happens if we get no donations?
Then we're going
Then we gotta take it out of another line item. If it's safety, that should be in there. How much did Peter Pan give us?
$500.
And it was cash?
He gave me a check.
A check? All right. That's it. Thank you. Thank you, Rich.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Nick Delvecchio, 281 Willow Drive. Hate to bring this up, but I got a question about the zoning code for the business district. Some of the listings, this is the first time I've seen it in writing. Okay, I don't know whether this was published before in writing, but this is the first time I've seen it, so that's why I've got a question. Maybe it should be done the question. There are certain things listed that are not listed in B1 that are currently in B1, such as a real estate office, an insurance office, and a dance studio, just to name a few. Other businesses are mentioned: bakery, restaurants, barber shops, beauty shops. So they aren't in B1. They're not mentioned in B1. And the B1, you specify very clearly here that only specified, businesses are allowed to be in B1. Well, they're already there.
Right.
Yeah, I'll let Mike answer you, but
Yeah.
I believe the answer is if there's an existing business, then that's fine. If that business, if the dance studio closes for a year, then they lose that right to be a dance studio. Mike,
So-
let Mike explain.
Michael Kane, Planning Board. So B1, the intention of B1 is that the businesses that are in those stores are walk-in traffic type businesses. The dance studio as a whole is not a walk-in type of business. It's a business where somebody walks in, they do an event there, and then they leave. It's not constant walking in and out. So the deli, the restaurants, the dry cleaner, these things, people are walking in, walking out within 5 or 10 minutes. The insurance company wouldn't fit that bill. A business type office going into the hardware store would not fit that bill. We want this to be a high traffic area. Anybody who comes after this is proposed and accepted, anybody coming in here and says, okay, where the hardware store was, I want X to be in there. If it's not already stipulated in the code, he has to go before the trustees and the zoning board to say, I would like to put a veterinarian clinic there. Since it wasn't specified, then that automatically bumps it to the planning board, bumps it to the zoning board to decide whether it fits, and bumps it to the trustees.
So
Anybody that's there now is grandfathered as long as the business stays operable.
So an insurance agent or a real estate agent wouldn't be allowed to move into that business one area, even though they are there now.
If they sold the business that is there now, if the real estate, let's take the insurance agent. If the insurance agency sells it to another insurance agency and the business does not close for longer than 12 months, they can go in there. We can't stop that. That's a grandfather effect. But if the hardware store, which is an open building, somebody comes in and says, I want the insurance company to go in there. No, they cannot do that. So we cannot stop somebody who's already in business and stays in business, even if they sell the company to another person or entity. That would have to be grandfathered in still.
That was the big question with the beer district. They were
So
concerned.
if that insurance agent changes and 3 months after they close up, they sell to another insurance company, that insurance business can go in.
That's correct. So if it's an Allstate right now, just for argument's sake, and she sells it to Prudential, Progressive, and Flo's going to move in there, it's going to go in as long as it stays open for as long as it does not stay closed for longer than 12 months.
Where do we get the 12-month situation?
12 months is what we call non-conforming use. That's the statutory definition
right,
of
that's normally a
non-conforming.
non-conforming use.
Correct, yes.
Right. So we took the legal.
So you're
use of
taking
that.
these buildings and these stores and putting them into non-conforming.
They are made non-conforming, that is correct.
They're being made non-conforming.
Correct. Under the statute. Well,
That's a little, that's a little,
there's an effect of them being non-conforming because they're not supposed to be there now. So if they're there after the law passes and they're not supposed to be there, then they're non-conforming.
Yes, but they're conforming now.
But they're conforming now, right?
But
Okay, so also you have a situation where physical therapy, which is in B2, is only allowed in B3. So everything that's not allowed in B1 that you guys are making non-conforming in B1, you're pushing to a B3.
Correct.
There's not a whole lot of B3.
That was the methodology behind what the planning board decided, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
B3 is a significant amount of real estate.
That's the issue, right?
That we want to promote. So we look at the current properties and where they're next to with the residential also, where the physical therapy is, and we looked at the uses that would fit there that would be better suited. But it doesn't eliminate from somebody coming in at some point and saying, I need a physical therapy place, and I want it to be an X number of property. B3 is a very large portion of Brightwater's Orinoco.
Well, B3 is mostly the village yard is B3. The old coal yard is B3, which we anticipate might not be there for long. And then you've got a situation where B3 currently is not much. There's already existing, post office, auto repair,
All the Wolf
a
properties.
new apartment, building.
Yeah, all the Wolf properties.
But across the street from that B3 is B2.
Correct.
So where is there a lot of B3 that's going to be existing?
All south of Orinoco, other than the main business district. All south of Orinoco is B3.
Well, that's not right. I mean, there's residential D,
or
there's B4.
Existing. That's the multi-storage facility.
B4 is just multi-storage, is already built.
Right.
Nick, all this has been, they had 2 open hearings, we had 2 open hearings, so.
We did the business owners.
I don't recall the movement of non-conforming use on these particular buildings.
Again, we didn't change anything.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I didn't understand. So when I read it, I recognized that that's what the situation was. And I wanted to clarify that that's the case. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't some kind of an error that was made to say that, B1 says in it that, you could say a real estate company might be listed under
It's going to go to B2 or 3.
something that sells something,
Nick, if you want to take time and sit with the guys from the planning board,
You know what I'm saying?
that might be helpful. Just take a couple of minutes with them to clarify it.
No, apparently, that was the intention, so that's why I wanted to.
Yeah.
I wanted to just clarify that was the intention.
Yeah, there's 2 ways to look at it, I look at it, Nick. It's that if you are one of those existing businesses, your value is much higher because there's not going to be a lot of places to go from. Right, and the other piece is now it's not conforming. So, I think the goal, what the planning board was trying to do, which I was a part of way back when, was, all right, how do we create a high traffic area downtown so that we don't have a lot of empty buildings? So that's, I think, was the overall goal.
None of these things involve an empty building. The empty building has been there for how many years?
Right, it will evolve.
Hopefully. All right, anything else from the public?
And Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you for your volunteered work and labor on that building and also on the cabin.
And the Easter egg hunt. That was the most dangerous thing we've done in a long time. Chris?
Just make a comment on the storage unit, the new one. Looks pretty nice. It's actually the nicest looking building we have in Brightwater. That was a big concern.
The planning board spent a lot of time with them with colors, and they did bust their chops. It is a big building. I admit it's a big building. It's on the same footprint as the tennis courts, same height as the tennis courts, but it's just flat and not that. It's big. I'm not going to kid you. It's a big building.
They just started doing the landscaping.
Just the landscaping, it's one of the few things that we have that says, as you're coming into Brightwater, because as you pass the storage unit, and then you come to the underpass of Sunrise, it's disgusting.
Yep.
And we live in a nice area, and both entrances to downtown, to the Four Corners. My question is, have anyone contacted the Long Island Railroad for the ideas that I brought up about?
No, you want to put a fence around it, but all those doors open up, so there's really no space there.
Well, there actually is, because if you do it just right on the sidewalk. But that's something that I wanted to discuss.
Chris, we'll meet down there, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
No problem.
And then, just last summer I brought this up about the garbage man. And obviously, I'm not allowed to call the garbage man, so I won't. But
Oh, you can call that.
Yeah.
No, you can't say what you said to them.
No, we can't hold
And the thing is,
You can go and say hello.
I don't think you do.
but I brought up the fact that they come really early. And I was a garbage man, 30 years, whatever, 35, people. But you want to get out there early, I understand. And I was told in the summer that they're there early so that they can, because it's hot out and they need to get an early start. Well, during the winter, they've been in front of my house at 4:58, 5:09. That's just too early. The ISO ordinance is 6 a.m. I'm not saying they have to wait till 6 a.m., but to be there before 5 o'clock.
All right, when I'm in tomorrow, Nicole and I will just call them and we'll talk to them directly, okay? And we'll come up with a little bit later.
Yeah, I've noticed actually they're later by me now than they've been a long time.
Early for me.
Yeah.
For success. All right, anybody else? Okay, thank you again for coming. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Have a second? All in favor? Aye.
I want to say,